James Earl Carter Jr. began his journey in rural Plains, Georgia. After graduating from the Naval Academy, he married hometown girl Rosalind Smith, and his run for the Georgia State Senate marked the start of a political career, which continued to the Georgia governor's mansion and ultimately, of course, to the White House. I recently sat down with him at the Carter Center in Atlanta, where he talked about his life, his future, and the state of politics today. I began by asking him if he has plans to slow down a bit now that he's turning the big 80.
When I reach retirement age, I certainly intend to do that, but I haven't decided what year that's going to be. As a matter of fact, I'm only 80, and I think I still have a few productive years left in me.
When I take a look at the activities you've been engaged in the last, 25 years or so, the word that comes to mind is peripatetic, and I looked it up in Webster's dictionary, and one of the definitions is journey hither and thither.
That's right.
Words you don't hear very often.
Or ubiquitous, which means everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems that way. Well, since the 1st of July, we've been to Indonesia to help hold an election. We've been to Russia. We've been to Alaska. We've been to Guyana. We've been to Venezuela. All extremely challenging and adventurous and interesting opportunities for the Carter Center to serve.
And serve it does. The Carter Center, which he started after leaving the White House, is currently operating in some 65 countries. One of its missions, health care. The center has dramatically decreased river blindness, which plagues so many in third world countries.
Last year we treated 9.4 million people, and none of them will ever go blind.
Another success, they're close to eradicating the debilitating guinea worm disease.
Good morning.
The center's peace programs focus on ending human rights abuses, monitoring elections, and diffusing volatile conflicts, often in political hotspots.
What do you say to people who say Jimmy Carter has no business doing this?
The Carter Center has always gone just to fill vacuums in the world. And when we do go to those controversial places, like Haiti or North Korea, are two notable examples, I wouldn't have gone without getting permission first from the White House, and I have done that.
Some people say you shouldn't be negotiating with dictators who are heinous human rights violators.
Well, with whom do you negotiate? With leaders who are at peace, with leaders who are eager to give their people democracy, with leaders who are willing to honor all the elements of human rights, with leaders who are not abusive. You know, there's nothing to negotiate. So we do deal with some unsavory characters, but I think always with the best interest at heart.
When it comes to choosing leaders in this country, the former president is also keeping an eye on and speaking out about the current race for the White House, recently writing an editorial that Florida was not ready for this election. Earlier this summer, he spoke at the Democratic National Convention.
At stake is nothing less than our nation's soul.
What do you think of this campaign? Have politics become more vitriolic?
Oh, yes.
Zell Miller gave a speech at the Republican National Convention. You wrote a scathing letter to him.
I thought it was a constructive letter. I went on to quote Zell Miller in having previously identified John Kerry as a true war hero whom he admired. You know, he changed his position in order to make that vitriolic speech. Campaigns in general around this country have become increasingly partisan and vitriolic in nature. Quite dramatically different from when I ran for president. I never referred to President Reagan or President Ford as anything except my distinguished opponent. And if I had orchestrated directly or indirectly a personal attack on their basic character, it would have been suicidal for me. Unfortunately, in the last 20, 25 years, those negative advertisements have become very effective. And of course, they've been used, I think, to some degree on both sides. It's regrettable.
I know it really bugs you when people say, what a great ex-president you've been. That does bug you. I know it does. And I think it bugs Rosalind as well, because you believe it's implicit in that comment that you weren't a great president.
Well, greatness is one thing. I think a good president. You know, I kept our nation at peace. And I protected our country's interest. And I promoted peace around the world. We had the best environmental record in history. We doubled the size of our national park system. We tripled the size of our wilderness area. It's the only successful agreement that's ever been worked out in the Middle East, unfortunately, was the one that I was able to accomplish in '79. That treaty between Israel and Egypt. We were afflicted by the hostages being held. And we were afflicted by an international high inflation rate that affected us and everybody else.
The hostage crisis in Iran has become, in some ways, symbolic of your presidency.
That's true.
52 Americans held hostage for 444 days.
You remember. I had two goals at the very beginning when the hostages were taken, paramount above everything else. One was to protect the interest and integrity of my country. And the other goal was to bring every hostage home safe and free. Both goals were completely accomplished.
After 444 days of negotiations, just minutes after Ronald Reagan was sworn in as president, all 52 American hostages were released.
The planes bearing our prisoners left Iranian airspace and are now free of Iran.
I would say that was one of the happiest and most joyful and thankful times of my life. And if it had come out, 5 minutes earlier, before I left office, it would have been nicer in retrospect, but it wouldn't have changed the fate of the hostages.
You once said of your years post-White House, "I feel truer to myself. I'm more a missionary than a politician. I am really where I belong. I don't have anything to fear now."
Well, I don't have anything to fear. I would like to spend more time at home in Plains. I'd like to spend more time with our family. I would like to be known, at least among 11 people as a good grandfather. And I would like to be known as a good husband, a good father. I'm still going to write books. I've begun oil painting. I'm becoming a better painter every year. I still make furniture. I still take care of the farmland that's been in our family since 1833.
Is there anything you don't do?
Well, there's some things I want to do better. So anyway, we have a good time and a challenging, gratifying life.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.